All right, so now that we have identified that we need to evaporate some of the liquid in each vial, right? Now I have a question, right? So we know we're going to evaporate, but how will we know what we see? If something evaporates and is left in the vial, how will we know if it's calcite or something that was just in our cup or something that was in the vinegar? How will we know it's not just vinegar that's left behind? Or how will we not know it's just a little dust that was on the rock? How can we know what vinegar looks like when it evaporates? How can we know what calcite looks like when it evaporates? All right, because we ultimately want to see if calcite was in sandstone, marble, basalt, or limestone. All right, so if we want to figure out if there was calcite in those rocks, what will we, right? What should we do? Right, we're going to need to set up a control dish, right? We're going to have to just evaporate pure vinegar, right? If we evaporate vinegar that hasn't been contaminated with anything else, then we know when we let it out to evaporate, then we will know what vinegar looks like when it evaporates, right? And also we're going to have another control, a control with just the calcite, right? So we have the mineral calcite in this dish of a cup of vinegar, right? It hasn't been contaminated or touched with dirt, right? So this is straight calcite. So if we just evaporate some of the liquid that the calcite was in, then we will know what calcite looks like when it evaporates. So when we evaporate the liquid that was the vinegar that had the basalt, the limestone, the marble, and the sandstone, then we'll know. We can compare it to the two dishes, all right? We know what calcite looks like when it evaporates, right? So do any of the dishes that the rocks are in have any of the same residue or leftover particles? Or we know what vinegar looks like when it evaporates on its own, right? Vinegar that hasn't been contaminated with another rock. So then we compare, is the liquid in the basalt evaporation dish, does it look more like what's left behind when calcite evaporates or when vinegar evaporates? So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to reverse the camera right here. All right, let's reverse it. All right, so I have all the rocks, right? I have the basalt in the vial. I have the sandstone. I have the limestone. I have marble. I have calcite right here. And I have just pure vinegar in a cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of each liquid in the cups. I didn't have enough evaporation dishes, but this is a wide body, so I'm only going to pour a little bit so we can see what happens when it evaporates. So this is just the calcite. All right, so I'm going to pour a little bit of the calcite in vinegar. All right, that's enough. All right, so then I'm going to take off the lid of the basalt. All right, so this is the basalt. All right, I'm going to pour vinegar, this liquid in here. All right. Next I have sandstone, right? This is the sandstone. So the sandstone is going to go in. All right. Now that we have that. Next I'm going to take, this is this is limestone. All right, I'm going to take the limestone and pour it in this cup. All right, so we have the limestone. And finally, this is marble. All right. Pour the marble liquid in here. So we have the four, and now we need the other control, which is just pure vinegar in a mess. So this is vinegar in an evaporation tray. All right. So now we have all 6 evaporation cups or trays ready to go. So who can remind me, what was the purpose of setting up the evaporation? Why are we evaporating the liquids? And also, why are we just evaporating pure vinegar and the calcite marble? Because we already know that calcite reacts to vinegar, right? It has a chemical reaction. But why are we just evaporating the straight calcite and vinegar when we have the limestone, the basalt, the sandstone, and the marble? Why aren't we just evaporating the vinegar from those 4 rocks? All right, so we're gonna find out. I'm gonna leave this out to evaporate. I'm gonna come back in a day or two. I'm gonna film the reactions and we're gonna see what happened. All right, guys.